easier fee.
No, I think that, Jim, you look at the number of clients that we've advised over the years, and you talk about mistakes they make. We look at formation of a business, and we look at the type of entity they choose. And one of the problems I've always had is they come to me after they've done it. They spent the money, and
they didn't need it.
They didn't need it?
They didn't need the legal liability they were worried.
I have people come in and say, well, I want to be a corporation because I don't want any legal liability.
Sometimes if you're a service guy, or even if you're selling a retail product, if you have slip and fall and you got a good umbrella policy, that's all you need. You don't need to pay us $2,500 a year for a corporate return, though we'd love to have it. I have to tell you to be careful what you do before you do it. Think through all your options. A lot of folks don't understand corporation. It's a living, breathing animal separate from your checkbook. So you can't just go saying, I'm a corporation and I'm going to go out there and use my personal checkbook to do this business, or I'm going to treat that checkbook as a personal checkbook.
I always like to use the bucket analogy.
Explain to me your bucket analogy.
Is
this your bucket list or your bucket analogy?
Here's my personal bucket. Okay, this is my personal bucket. This is my personal income, my personal expenses. This is the corporation bucket. This is the corporate's income, the corporate's expenses. The two don't mix. They're separate. This one's got a steel shell or plastic shell or whatever that bucket is. You don't put them together, because if you do, you get in a lot of trouble. So I got my corporate.
No, the problem is this corporate bucket is not made out of steel.
It's not made out of steel?
It's a permeable
it's a permeable
membrane that lets water flow over here to this pocket. Until I told you, by the way, you're not allowed to do that. In the choice of entity selection, you got to say, what do I want to be when I grow up? Your choice of entity you choose today, you want to go from country to western easy, but you know that you can't go western to country without some pain. So if I go S-Corp too soon, I might be screwing the pooch down the road. What do I want to be when I grow up in 5 years? What do I want to be when I get fat and old like Jimbo in 20 years, like I am right now? Where do I want to be when I'm down the road? Your S-Corp could be your best instrument in the world for 5 years. And it could be your worst enemy in 10 years.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about music. I thought you were going to start talking about bluegrass and mountain music.
Yeah, I can. But I'm trying to let you know that you need to decide when you're starting your entity, and you know this about a business plan besides going to Best Buy or Office Depot and buying it out of a canned package, is you got to say, I've developed my sandwich. I'm going to sell 1 million of these sandwiches. I'm then going to franchise that out. I'm then going to grow. I'm going to be Godfather's Pizza, and then I'm going to run for president one day. Whatever you want to do. The deal is you have to know where you want to go, where you want to be when you grow up, to know what you do today.
Well, maybe I want to be a C. Well, maybe I want to be a Schedule C for a while, and then when I grow up a little bit more,
I'm fine with you being a Schedule C and then growing up.
Yeah, I can grow up.
I'm fine with that. That's a good thing. See, and what did you just do? You kept it simple. You kept your accounting fees down. Mm-hmm. We didn't give any money to our lawyer friends like we want to until later. But you know what? We still needed to know where we want to be when we grow up, to know that we can afford that transition, to assume that risk, to be exposed for that 5 years while we grow up. We could go into so much. What we're doing is staying at, I hope, at 30,000 feet, because you're not even dealing with what it really takes to set up the first hard decisions, which is the business plan, where you have to say, do I even know what I'm talking about? I have the best sandwich in the world, but do I even understand what it takes? There's so much out there that's compliance oriented, you haven't even touched on the iceberg we're still dealing with. Well, where are we going to be when we grow up, if we get sued, if we don't get sued? It's the toughest thing in the world. It's what makes America great.
What we're talking about here
is that we're willing to take that risk and make our own business.
Where the risk is being taken. I think
you know what the best thing I heard you say was a couple days ago. You said, you know what it means to be the boss? It means you get to go without a paycheck. I hear this from my siblings, and I got a bunch of them. Oh, Jimmy, you don't know. You own your own business, and you have fun and everything. And I said, do you realize that I have 365 or better bosses, and they're called my clients? Mm-hmm. I said, you go to work wherever you go to work, and you might have an owner and a manager, and you may have 3 that you deal with that give you crap each day.
You do your job, you may get fired, but you know what? When you're a boss, There ain't money in the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna pay your employees and you're done. Would you turn that phone off?
I'm telling
I
you.
think I think we're done here anyway.
Okay. Well, I think we're done here, but we've had a great time.